Hello everyone and welcome back to Greenpine Zoo and Gardens, and we are on our way right now to Pandasia. We started 2 weeks ago creating this new area in our zoo, which is connected to the Asian highlands or the Himalayan area. We have the Japanese garden right here, walking over the bridge, going through the gate to Pandasia, and here on the right side is the first habitat in that area, which is for the pair David's deer. It's a little bit in a Chinese style, so it also is starting to connect with the theming that we are going to have in here, and also with what we are going to do today. And for the first announcement in this episode, we are not going to have an animal in today's episode in the zoo today. We are preparing something huge. In the beginning I was thinking, what could we do? First I was thinking of adding the habitat for the tanuki. And then I thought, well, it doesn't make sense to do that right now or right away, because we have something really massive to do. We have to build the building of Pandasia, the Chinese palace where our giant pandas will live in, and in which we want to have a restaurant and a gift shop. And usually I think, or originally I think we said we wanted to have some staff buildings in there as well. Well, I can tell you that is not going to happen, because that would have been way too much for the building, and the building would be too massive. Yeah, but let's have a look. We are starting to build Pandasia. And, well, Pandasia is the whole area. We are going to build the palace of Pandasia. And I tell you, it is already massive. So, what I usually don't do, and which might be a little bit of a problem later, is that I started with the path. So, I wanted the whole building to be accessible for our visitors. So therefore I needed to have a path in there. And I had to plan out everything where I wanted everything to be, and so that our guests can reach everything. So we have the entrance area, which you can see right in the front, with the 3 different staircases that are leading up to the palace. And then on the blank spot on the left and on the right side is going to be the indoor habitats for the pandas. So we're going to have 2 different habitats for them, like we did for the rhinos. And on the upper level, which I'm creating right now, is going to be the restaurant and the gift shop. I had to change it once again because I noticed that it was a little bit too shallow? Well, the height of the ceiling was a little bit too low, so it would have been different for our guests to walk through the indoor habitats, through the back side of the building, and it looked a little bit weird. So therefore I changed it, elevated it a little bit, so that the upper floor is way up there. So this also means that the building is going to be very high. Very massive. And so, yeah, so you might get it why I chose not to have any staff buildings in here. So we have to build something for the staff around the palace, I think. So, like a little village. Yeah, I also have to say that I do have a little bit of an architectural problem by the end of the video, because I'm noticing that everything that I built so far doesn't really work the way that I want it to work. And we also might get a little bit of a problem at some point when we want to add food counters and the gift shop. Because if I'm not completely wrong, you can't add that onto the elevated path. But that is something that I'm not worrying right now about, which I possibly should. But yeah, I'm worrying about that when we are at that point where we need to worry about that. But that's not going to be in today's episode, and that might not be the case in next week's episode as well. So we have a little bit of time to get into that. Yeah, and there's also some other stuff that I have to think about, which I didn't do so far. We have to make sure that we find a way where we can put in the entrance gates for the habitats for the pandas. Because I have the feeling that what I built right now doesn't work the way I want it. But that is also a problem for, I guess, next week's episode. And I'm pretty sure I will find a solution for that. But right now, in the moment, I can't think about anything that will make it easy for me to do that. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. The thing that we definitely are going to manage is that the whole building is going to look very pretty in the end. So I can tell you that for sure. Yeah, for inspiration on this, I once again asked ChatGPT to give me a picture of a Chinese temple. So I just wanted to see a Chinese temple. I didn't want to see any impression of how a Chinese temple could look like if you do it for a habitat for the giant pandas or an indoor habitat for the giant pandas, because ChatGPT is sometimes pretty bad at that. And so I just wanted to see a Chinese temple and then make my own version out of it and trying to make it work. I also asked ChatGPT in the beginning because I was thinking about first building something like a little market area around here. I think I told you guys in last week's episode that I want to do something like this, so that you actually will have the entrance to the restaurant in the giant panda building, but the seating area is going to be outside around the building, where you have these little restaurants or little kitchens that you would see in some Chinese cities or even Japanese cities. And our guests some will sit in this restaurant, some will sit in that restaurant. So that was the idea behind that. And so I was asking ChatGPT what I could do with that, and to give me some impressions of it, and then I want to rebuild it in Planet Zoo. And so it made a very pretty picture, which I really did like, and I did like the idea of creating something like this, but in the end it was just not possible because we do not have the materials that I would have needed to create something that would even come close to that image, because it was an image with some little counter that you would see in the streets, with pots on it, and then noodles hanging on a stick and stuff like that. So it was really pretty, and it would have looked great, but we by far don't have the building pieces that I would need for that. And I am not that good in building stuff that I can create something like this from scratch. So that just wouldn't work. The great thing here, by using the path for the groundwork of the building, is that as I said in the beginning, first of all, everything here is going to be accessible for our guests. The next thing is going to be, we can add some benches on top of this area, this little terrace before you enter the building, so the guests can actually sit on here and have a little bit of a rest. So I'm looking very much forward to seeing how the guests would walk up those stairs and walk into the building, sit on the terrace, going to the upper floor, using the gift shop and sitting in a restaurant and stuff like that. So I really look forward to see this. Yeah, and I also was making the entrance to the building accessible. As you can see, we do have 3 staircases, we do have a ramp in the middle, so people in wheelchair or other walking disabilities can easily access the building. So this is something that we are having, I think, everywhere here in the zoo. I think we don't have an area that you actually can't go to if you are in a wheelchair or have any walking disabilities, besides the snow leopard walkthrough. So there you can only see the leopards from the upper side or the lower side, but you can't actually walk the whole path down there because we don't have an elevator, we don't have ramps in there, it's just staircases. But once again, no part of this zoo is not accessible, or I should say, there's no habitat that you couldn't have a look at it when you have some kind of walking disabilities. So that's what I wanted to say, and that's correct, I think. And that is also something that I'm trying to do, especially here in Greenpine Zoo. I can't manage to do it all the time in my DLC Zoo series because I'm a little bit limited, yeah, I'm not always laying my focus on that because I'm not always looking at realistic builds in my DLC Zoo series, but I really do that here in the Sandbox series as much as I can. So that being said, it is time to make the outside of our building look pretty. And therefore I was once again using those red walls that we already used, or that we used in parts for our Pier David steer habitat, I think, and also the gold pieces, because yeah, that the combination, this might be a little not problematic to say, and not tone deaf, but I think you know what I mean. The combination of gold and red is, for me, always reminding of China. I don't know, that's just a color combination that automatically says China, I think. So I don't know about you guys, but when I see those colors, I automatically think Chinese. Yeah, and I really do like this color combination. It also works with perfect with the more cream color that we have for the staircase. Is it cream color or is it a different color? I told you in last week's episode about my color blindness, so maybe this is also something that I don't see correctly, but yeah. So I think next week's episode I want to... What do I want to? I think we have to have a look at the architecture of the building. because I've already done so much here, and I hope that I can do everything that I need to do to make this work without changing too much. But yeah, I'm very anxious about it because I think it will be, yeah, it will not be pleasant at all to get to the point that everything is working out as we want to. Especially with the path system, especially with the elevated path. Because I'm thinking of adding all the guest buildings that we need in here. This is really going to be painful, I think. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But I think that is the first thing that we have to have a look at, so that we add all the buildings or the building parts that we need in here, that we want in here. So the restaurant and the gift shop, the toilet. Do we need anything else? Well, I think of not having an actual restaurant in there, but food counters. But I think it would be easier to put the restaurant in here and not all of the food counters, because I think the food counters will be such a pain in the ass by placing them down and making it work with the pass system. I think that just wouldn't work. I think we can manage it with the restaurant in some way, but never with the counters. So I think we're going for that. So that is definitely the first thing that we are going to do in next week's episode. And then I don't want to finish restaurant and what else. I just want to go into the habitat or habitats for the pandas, so that we have an animal in here, and 1 week later we are going to take care of the rest of the building so that everything is working, that we do have a nice decorated restaurant and a nice decorated gift shop. I'm planning on having all the panda stuff in the gift shop, so I try to not have too much else in there. So it's going to be very much panda dedicated, and I'm looking very much forward to that. And yeah, this all should be very panda themed right here. Yeah, and I was looking for some doors that I could put in here, and I didn't find some that I really liked, so I decided to create something for myself, and therefore I did this awful lot of cables in here, using lots of building material. Taking so much time to create this, but in the end it looks so pretty, and we are going to use it a lot in here. We're going to use it for the outdoor habitat for the pandas as well, and yeah, in the end it is very cool, I think. Yeah, looking back at it, I might have used real windows, because it's going to be a little bit dark on the inside here, but yeah, I just didn't want to use real windows, because the ones that I was using, which are actually doors, looks so pretty, and I never could have created something like this by using all the building pieces that we do have in the game and make it look nice. So therefore I'm okay with it being dark inside the building. So putting this one-sided glass into the doors, and ta-da, here we are. And I think it looks really pretty, and I think also this might be the most detailed build that I've ever done in Planet Zoo. Well, maybe the entrance building of Greenpine Zoo, which is also very heavily detailed, and I'm very proud of that, but yeah, I think if this is not the most detailed build that I've ever done, it at least is the second. And we're far from finished, I have to say that as well. So I wanted to have some stone tiles here in the middle. And it's pretty easy to make them look a little bit different and not so repetitive. Just select a few of them randomly and paint them a little bit lighter, and there you go. Oh, also guys, I have to say something. You might have noticed in last week's episode, no, not last week's episode, last week's schedule on my channel was crazy. And this week is not going to be any different, well, a little bit different, I guess. Just because of the release of Jurassic World Evolution 3, there's a lot going on my channel, and lots of stuff about Jurassic World Evolution 3. But I think I have to mention that nothing about Planet Zoo is going to change for me. So we still are going to be playing in Planet Zoo. There's still going to be new episodes here in Greenpine Zoo and my DLC Zoo series every Monday and every Wednesday. And the stuff in Jurassic World Evolution 3 is going to be it's going to be a little bit less from next week on. So I was thinking just the first 2 weeks go full speed into it. I am still so excited about this game because it is very beautiful, and you have so many options in there and you can do so many things in there. I'm totally okay if you guys are not that much into Jurassic World Evolution, so no worries about that. But you are not going to fall short of anything. You are going to get the content that you know me for. There's nothing going to change about that. And as I said, from next week on, there's going to be a little less Jurassic World Evolution 3 on my channel. But still, that game is going to be a main part of my channel in the future as well, alongside Planet Zoo. So these are going to be the two main games that we are going to play. I think they are a little bit or very similar to each other, because yeah, they are basically zoo games. One for extinct animals and the one for animals that actually do live in our recent times. So it makes sense to play both of these games. But once again, as I said, nothing is going to change for you guys. There's always going to be Planet Zoo on this channel. I told you about that already 1 year ago, as I started Planet Coaster 2 as well, and I kept my promise, so I'm going to keep my promise in the future as well. This is always going to be a Planet Zoo channel, or Planet Zoo is always going to be part of this channel, let's say it that way. Okay, we are decorating the second floor right now. As you can see, I just copied the doors from downstairs to the upper place. I think the balcony is going to be a little bit too small. We will not be able to put some of the picnic tables or guest tables on the balcony where our guests can sit outside and have dinner or lunch. So maybe we can come up with some idea for that in the future, but right now I think those tables would not match there, which is not that big of a problem, but yeah. I hope we are going to have enough space on the inside. So I'm planning to have a bigger restaurant and a smaller gift shop, and maybe everything connected to each other through some glass doors or whatsoever, so that we don't waste some space on the upper part here. So first of all, I was thinking about finishing the whole building by the end of the video, and then I thought, no, that would just not make any sense, because that would just be too much content for one video, and I would have to speed it up so much that you guys wouldn't be able to enjoy it at all. So I guess it's better to do it in parts, so that we are going to have maybe a 3-part build here, so that we are going to finish the whole thing here in about 2 weeks, I guess. So connecting the path with the main path. Which I'm planning to create something very similar on the other side of the building, where we are going to create the connection from the cat house to Pandasia. So then all of the big parts of our zoo will be connected in the end. So having the doors on the inside as well. And then just doing a quick layout of the indoor habitat for the giant pandas. Or one of the indoor habitats, because we are not taking care of both of them right now. That is something that we are going to do in next week's episode, I guess. And I'm thinking maybe we are going to add some smaller buildings attached to the palace on the left and on the right side, which is going to be a staff area that is connected to the indoor habitat of the giant pandas. I think that would be pretty cool, and that would also fix the problem with where do we put our staff area in here. And I think it would look very cool if we have something like here, where the second window on the left side is. So that we have something, yeah, just something like 4x4, which would be a little too small, 8x8 or something like this. There, just a tiny little building where you have some food supplies in there and whatsoever, and then a door that is connected to the indoor habitat for the giant pandas. That I think that would look pretty cute, and we also could connect it to the elevated path that you can see right here, where the staircase is going up to. Maybe that would also fix our architectural problem. That actually could work. Could. Not quite sure, but it could. So, creating the gate to open the indoor or the outdoor habitat for our giant pandas, which I had to think about a lot, so that it actually would work. I don't know if it actually would work the way that I built it, but it looks cool. It looks cool, and as I said a few episodes before, I'm not a technician, so I don't know how things work, or I don't have the capacity in my brain to figure out how things work, so yeah. If it looks like it could work, then I'm pretty fine with it, and I hope you guys are too. So here you go. We can open and close it right now. Yeah, and there I noticed that this is going to be a problem. It looks pretty good, but we do have the roof right on top of the staircase, so this would not work out. And this was when I noticed, Houston, we have a problem. And that was also something when I thought, whew, great that we finished today's episode, that I don't have to worry about this right now, so we can worry about it in a later at a later point. So we are finished with today's episode. Let me know in the comments what you think about this building, and if you have any ideas for my architectural problem. I hope you guys did enjoy today's episode. If you did so, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, become member of the Keeper crew. How you can do that, you will find that in the video description. And yeah, I hope you guys tune in next week when we are going to welcome our giant pandas to Greenpine Zoo and Garden. So thanks for watching. See you guys next week. Take care.